Hello, everybody, and welcome to True Crime Banter, the podcast aimed at bringing you your dose of murder relaxation. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Sure, whatever you say. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of True Crime Banter, the ASMR edition.
Ew. No one signed up for that.
Terrible.
No.
I'm so sorry. And of all people,
Graphic
for me to
warning.
choose to make the mouth noises,
Yeah.
I hate the mouth noises.
No.
And I do everything in my power to prevent them for us.
It's
but
almost as bad as seeing people's feet.
yeah.
Almost.
Well, welcome everyone. We're back with another episode. I think we're going on. This might be episode. I think we're almost to 20.
I don't know. I'm kind of sick of checking.
Oh, I mean, we don't have to check.
I don't
I
want
just
to.
remember. Well, you know what?
It doesn't really
Fine,
matter.
Christian. Fine.
It doesn't matter
It's-
as long as we're putting out good stuff. Whatever.
True, exactly. And which
Who
we've
cares?
been getting a lot of good feedback on the last one, which is Tim
Yeah.
McNamara. So thank you all for that.
Yeah.
Today, I don't have any shout outs. And
Okay.
actually, you will be taking the lead for tonight.
Yes.
Which means I will be bringing the bit of banter. And I got a little funsy stuff for us. So real quick, just to preface this whole thing. So you and I, we've been, I guess, house searching. We've been driving a lot, looking at houses, condos, a lot of
Yeah.
places that we're trying to live.
Yep.
And to kill the time while driving, because traffic here in Seattle is terrible.
Oh my God.
We have
Don't even
adopted
get
a
me
new
started.
fun, not game or technique, but just time-wasting activity.
Well, we're either listening to murder stuff or we're
Or
talking
finding-
about stupid
yeah.
stuff or
Yeah, so what we've been doing recently is that I've been a fan of these, I guess a listener of these people for, I don't know, probably a few years now. Their names are Carla, Marie, and Anthony, and they just, as Tino is looking so cute. Wait, should we show?
You do it.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna get up, you
settled.
guys. If you guys are watching the YouTube video, you will
Oh my
see we've
God.
got our dog Tito here. And last episode we mentioned my sister sent us some
Shout out Caleb
some doggy onesies with our True Crime Banter logo.
killing
So
it.
I'm gonna get up and
You,
for all you Spotify or audio only listeners,
just
I'm
envision
sorry.
it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll post another picture or something of him. Oh, there Riley goes. Okay. Oh, dear he is. Hopefully he doesn't bite your face. Okay. Oh, can you see? It's kind of hard to see. Can you show his face?
Oh,
Look how beautiful he is. Hi.
dog.
He can't. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Aw, little baby. Hi. Yeah.
So yeah, there's Teets McGeets, as we like to
Teets.
call
His
him.
name's Tito McFredo. but
Tito
yeah.
McGuido.
Yeah, I know.
So back to what I was saying though, because Tito and his cuteness distracted us a little bit. We've been listening to a segment of a podcast that I listen to. It's called The Morning Show Podcast, hosted by Carla, Marie, and Anthony. Some people have heard of them. Some people have
Especially
no idea.
around here.
Yeah, around here and I guess in the New York, New Jersey area.
Yeah.
Really popular. Anyways, on their podcast, their new morning show podcast, they have a segment called 2-Second Tunes where they play a quick 2 seconds of a song and you got to guess what the song is.
And I'm in love.
Yeah, so I figured that we would give them a little shout out and I wanted to give people a taste of what that game is like. So typically they have two people competing against each other. You and I obviously can't compete against each other
Right.
if I'm putting this together.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe I would give you 5 songs to see if you could guess using just the first 5 seconds of each song.
Wow, 5 seconds seems generous after
I know.
just listening
After
to 2
I know,
seconds.
but the thing is you got to guess the song and the artist. And
Oh my
yeah,
God. Okay.
I figured this might be, a once a month or once every 4 or 5 episodes.
So
we
are
could
these
do
just
this.
random songs?
Oh, okay. So here's the thing. You and I, we kind of talked about this beforehand because I asked you what. We actually talked about this in the car while we were playing, I guess, listening to the episode. And I asked you what genre or decade or year of music you think you'd excel in. And what did you say?
I think I asked first, do I have to choose one genre or decade?
Right. And
so I was
said
like,
no.
oh my gosh, there's so many. But I would say like classic rock.
Okay.
But I think I remember saying this too. It's kind of a wide genre. Some people consider random stuff classic rock. But then also like popular 80s songs, like 80s hits. And then like kind of our generation, like early 2000s.
I think you said some 90s hip-hop in there
yeah,
too.
that too. Somewhere in there.
So for this not inaugural game, but to give people an idea, I thought maybe I'll try to cover all of what you answered. So I've got some classic rock, some 90s hip-hop, and some more modern stuff that you should know. So we're going to go ahead, like I said, 5 songs, 5 seconds.
Okay.
And I want to see just how many you can get right. Okay. Maybe in the future we can wager if you get 3 out of 5 right, then maybe I have to do something or you have to. I don't know. So here is your first song.
Okay. Oh, Hotel California, the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
Easy.
Real quick, yeah.
Child's Play.
Yeah, so
that is one of my favorite songs.
Oh, sorry. I'm very sorry. Yes.
Okay.
So, oh my gosh, as I'm just butchering, tapping on
No, listen, there are worse songs to keep playing. I'm okay
so I wanted
to
start off with a pretty easy one.
Such
Get people
a good
to know, get a feel for it.
If anyone else out there was kind of grooving along like I just was, just naturally, instinctually, because that song is fucking gold, hit me up.
It's money. All right, so you're 1 for 1.
I fucking love that song.
All right, let's see if you can get this one proper.
Oh, Last Dance with Mary Jane, Tom Petty.
Okay, all right. Okay. So I think the name is Mary Jane's Last Dance.
Oh, okay.
But yes, as you can tell, it's.
I think I still get a point for that.
Yeah, you do. So Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Listen, he died on my birthday, you guys. And he was one of my bucket list ones I wanted to go see.
I was gonna say that's one of the ones that you really wanted to.
Depressing.
All right, well,
anyway.
As we move along, so you're 2 for 2.
Okay.
We got number 3 up here, and this one, we'll see. Here we go.
Oh, I know it's Dre.
On. Okay.
Da-na-na-na-na, it's the motherfucking.
What is the name of it though?
Is it still Dre or no? That's the wrong one.
It
Fuck,
is.
hold on, don't tell me. Oh, next episode. Okay, Dr. Dre. Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna say you're 2 for 3 so far.
Okay.
All right. Well.
Is Snoop in that one? Did I just make that up?
No,
okay.
He is.
And
Warren, yeah.
Okay, and Warren G. Okay.
All right, so 2 for 3.
Ugh,
Ready?
so
you got
good.
2 more chances to get 1 more.
Oh my god. Oh my god, Mariah Carey.
Okay. Which song is it though?
Hold on, don't.
You know there's people out there right now.
No, stop. Now I know what it feels like to be on that fucking show.
10.
We belong
9.
together.
Nice.
Oh my god, stop your face. I was like,
okay. All right, good job. So just for fun time's sake,
I'm
we'll play
actually getting sweaty.
Yeah, we'll play song number 5 here just to see if you would have been able to get it.
Okay. Oh my god, Party in the USA.
Yeah,
I was just running on the treadmill to this
Of
earlier.
course. Who's the artist though?
Miley fucking Cyrus.
You sure it's not Hannah Montana?
No, it's not.
Are we sure?
Yes.
I don't know if there's a difference.
I am very sure.
Okay. Yes, you're right. You got it. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
honestly, next time step it up a little bit. That was way too easy.
I just wanted to get people a feel for how that that goes. So.
That's true because not everyone might know that stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe
maybe every other episode or maybe every 4 or 5 episodes we'll bring this into play.
I would love to do this every single time, but it's probably not realistic. But anyway.
Oh no, we can do it.
Gotta try to keep these episodes under like 2 hours. So.
That's true. Very true. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I hope you all had fun listening.
I love the pressure. I thrive on it. That was awesome.
And also, shout out to Carla Marie and Anthony because they were kind of
I'm a new listener only because of Riley.
Yes.
So shout out.
And
Riri,
we'll be honest,
and
we only listen to the 2-second tunes when we're together.
some
I
of the stuff we
suppose.
listen to too, though. It's not like just
Yeah,
that. But
yep.
after I got obsessed with that, we just kept going
Just kept
straight to
playing.
that.
That's right.
Yeah, we listen to the other stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Let us know if you did enjoy it for sure. But
Mhm.
we're going to go ahead. Who are we covering today?
Well, I guess the teaser,
Okay. Yeah,
would
you got a
be
teaser?
A gruesome discovery leaves a neighborhood and community confused on how they never saw the warning signs. It isn't until years later investigators team up with a popular TV show to help solve the cold case.
Ooh.
I know.
A TV show.
Tantalizing.
I like it. Well, let's go ahead and hop right into it.
Okay. The year is 1971, and the day is December 7th, when police enter the sprawling mansion of the Liszt family. This visit wasn't for nothing. People started to worry when the family of 6 hadn't been seen or heard from in quite some time, almost a whole month. The family was already known to keep to themselves, and notes had been sent to the school in part-time jobs, saying that everyone would be away for a couple weeks visiting their maternal grandmother in North Carolina. Not only that, but their milk, mail, and newspaper deliveries had also been canceled. Neighbors also noticed that the lights on in the home had been left on the entire time, and the bulbs kept going out one by one, but none of them were being replaced either.
Okay. A little sketchy.
Finally, a concerned neighbor called the cops. Upon entering, police were met with extremely loud organ music blaring from some sort of intercom system in the home.
This is in the 70s, right? You're saying?
1971, yep.
Okay, wow.
Just at the end of it, yep. Almost immediately, police make a horrifying discovery in the main living room when they find the bodies of wife and mother, Helen, age 46, Patricia, age 16, John Frederick, age 15, and the youngest son, Frederick, age 13. They had all been placed perfectly in a row on top of sleeping bags. Helen, Patricia, and Frederick had all been shot in the back of the head. The 15-year-old John Frederick did not have it as quote-unquote easy. He was shown to have had defensive wounds. Police think the gun misfired and the shooter ended up having to shoot him multiple times. It says that he was shot 10 times, which to me seems excessive.
Yeah.
A 15-year-old.
A single misfire, and it means 9 more shots.
I know. I was like, that doesn't add up to me. When looking around, they couldn't find the paternal grandmother who lived there either, Alma. After a search of the huge home, they ended up locating her in her attic apartment on the 3rd floor. She was also deceased.
Of course.
Everyone was accounted for except John Liszt, the father and the breadwinner. What they did find is a note left behind by John, and I won't read you the entire thing because it's roughly 5 pages long.
Wow.
I know. It was addressed to his pastor, Reverend Eugene Raywinkle, who he was known to be really fond of. I should also let you know that the Liszt family were devout Lutherans, so this letter is very heavy in religious tones.
Okay.
But some quotes from it are, "I leave myself in the hands of God's justice and mercy." He also wrote that God could have helped him in this time of distress, but, quote, "apparently he saw fit not to answer my prayers," end quote. Quote, "This makes me think that perhaps it was for the best as far as the children's souls were concerned." Another quote, "I'm sure many will say, how could anyone do such a horrible thing? My only answer is it isn't easy and was only done after much thought." Another quote, "Mother is in the hallway upstairs. She was too heavy to move," explaining why she wasn't found with everyone else in the main living room. In this letter, John stated many times that he knew what he was doing was wrong, but he felt it necessary and hoping that God forgives him and he understands why he did this. Any questions so far? Any thoughts?
No. I don't want to offend people. That's
always the goal, right? To not offend people.
I mean, granted, there's terrible people all over the world. I don't like situations where they are almost using religion as an excuse as to
I mean,
why.
obviously, we know that there's always some underlying issue because no one ever does this actually in the name.
Right. Typically,
they think so, but
people are just fucked up in
obviously
the head.
mental health problems.
But sometimes I'm gonna just let you continue. It is when religion plays a large part in people's lives in a situation like this. I always get not a bad feeling towards it, but it gives it a bad rap to me because it feels like it plays more of a part into why they do something.
Yeah. Thinking
that, well, if God reached out to me and told me not to, or, as long as I repent my sins, then I'll be okay in the end. Like, it doesn't give a good look or a good name to religions.
But I think smart, common sense people like you and me are like, well, that doesn't mean everyone's like that, obviously. No. And obviously, this is what happens when mental health issues meets religion. Like, this is just,
I mean,
so
ask Jonestown.
It's unfortunate, Yeah, right, Jonestown, exactly. John was a big shot at one point, which is how they were able to live in this 19-bedroom estate named Breeze Knoll.
Wow.
Yeah, a home big that has a name.
For sure.
That's how rich they are.
I live in a knoll. Wait, a knoll? No, the grassy
Breeze Knoll. Yeah, Knoll. Yeah. But what people didn't know is that he had actually lost his big boy position as a vice president at a Jersey City bank a while ago.
Okay, so making good money, but not anymore.
Yeah, but before this job, John Liszt actually had multiple other positions, all pretty decent, kind of in that same line of work, but it was said that he had a hard time holding down a job for long, so I guess it was only a matter of time until he lost this one too. But instead of doing the normal thing, like telling your wife and dusting yourself off and finding a new job, he decided not to tell anyone. So each morning, he got dressed, got his briefcase, said goodbye to his family, and headed off to the train station, where he read the paper and passed the time away until it was time to head home and pretend like he had a long day at work.
Of course.
This is not the first story I've heard about this, by the way, but...
In fact, I think we watched... Wasn't there like a show on Netflix? Or maybe it was a movie where some guy was like, learned how to play chess at some park because he was...
This sounds very familiar. Yeah. We'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
So how was he paying the bills, you ask? He was draining his poor old mother's bank account to keep the mortgage going.
Of course.
Some people think that Liszt killed his family to keep a secret. It was only a matter of time until they lost the house and their social status, and he didn't want to lose that or accept that he had failed and be looked at as a failure. Liszt's letter he left rambled on about how he wanted to, quote-unquote, save his family from this world full of evil, and how he saw them straying away from their religious beliefs, and how he wanted to ensure that they all went to heaven. His daughter was interested in an acting career, and he saw this as immoral, which only added fuel to his crazed idea that he had. Of course, after finding all this, police need to know where John is, obviously. They end up locating his car a few days after this, after they discovered the bodies, parked at the local airport. There was no history of John boarding a flight in the country or out of the country. But with flying rules different back then and pretty relaxed, he could have gone under a different name. He could have just walked on something. Exactly. Nobody really knows.
Always hear about how things were basically really before 9/11.
All the baby boomers in the good old days when you could just hop on a plane and go to Russia.
under I don't know, some other pseudonym.
So for 18 years, police are left with nothing except the occasional false sighting. Until one day, Union County prosecutors bring this case to the attention of producers over at Fox, where they have a little TV show called America's Most Wanted.
Heard of it.
If you have no idea what this show is, then what the fuck? Just go look it up. I'll wait.
Search not America's Funniest Home Videos.
Okay, go. No.
A little different. Not much different,
Watch
but
that
a little
after,
different.
But
to lighten the mood.
Yeah. This show has helped catch a crazy amount of bad guys over the years by keeping their faces out there and their crimes known. The host, John Walsh, had a son who was actually murdered, and I actually put in here that I might want to do his case one day, so I don't want to go too much into it, but if you're curious, just go look it up. It's actually very interesting, extremely gruesome, and so sad because it is a child. Like, it is like a 5 or 6 year old. So it is really sad. But this is one of those weird things where like something, I don't want to say good came out of it, but he kind of threw himself into this show, and it actually ended up helping so many other people.
Right.
So getting John List's face out there was actually going to be a lot harder than they thought, considering it had been almost 20 years. So who knows what he had done to his appearance at the time. But in order to get an accurate picture, producers brought in Frank Bender, a forensic sculptor, and Richard Walter, a criminal psychologist. When John List vanished, he was in his 40s, so Mr. Bender spent time examining photos from that time period, but also kind of imagining how his face might have changed over the past 20 years.
Right, yeah, a lot could change over that time.
And I guess, want to point out that I don't want to say like, how do I say, like an advantage, but I think less changes in that time period than maybe like 10 to 20, 10 to 30, 15 to 40.
Yeah,
like,
as a grown adult now
so
you're
40-something
really,
to 60-something
is really what you're looking at.
Yeah, if anything, it's going to be probably more like skin or something, which kind of brings us to this, where they thought maybe his jowls kind of started. So obviously, aging younger looks different. So they thought maybe like some sagging skin, wrinkles, things like that, but probably everything else pretty much the same. So this is where the psychology comes into play, and where Mr. Walter thought, John List, he did always come off kind of as like a narcissist.
Okay.
And he always thought way too highly of himself, and he also thought himself extremely intellectual. And so he thought, he's probably going to wear glasses. I mean, he already was wearing glasses, but maybe like some sharper looking ones, like some thick framed, darker
something
glasses.
To really show off the intellect.
Yes, or what he thought was intellect, right? He wanted to make himself appear more smart, more successful than he actually was.
That's how he described it too, more smart, right? He was like, I'm more smart than you.
Oh my God. That just proves how more smart I am than you.
That's right.
Just ignore that, everyone. Thank you. It was on May 21st, 1989, when America's Most Wanted debuted the updated clay bust of John List. The network had estimated about 22 million people saw the episode. One of whom was a sweet older lady, could not find her name, living in the suburbs of Richmond, Virginia. She was watching the show with her daughter, and she thought, that looks an awful lot like my old neighbor, Robert Clark, a church-going accountant who wore horn-rimmed glasses.
Oh, Bobby Clark.
Sound familiar?
Muy interesante.
Agents tracked down the home of Robert Clark, where they spoke to his stunned and speechless wife, Dolores. She told the authorities she had met Robert at a church social years before, and everything was fine and they had a completely normal marriage. Agents then went to his accounting office and arrested Robert Clark, even after all his denials that he was actually John List. He kept up his charade of Robert Clark, even after confronted with matching fingerprints that had been saved from his military days back when he was in his 20s.
Okay, I was going to ask, because you could put on a front for a long time.
Especially back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, DNA wasn't popular back then. Really, it was just fingerprints to identify people.
And I think blood typing.
Right, yeah. We kind of mentioned that, where it was, your
like
type of blood, but it doesn't mean it's actually you.
Exactly.
There's so many people, but interesting. And so they actually had his fingerprints from his military days too.
Yep.
Because I was in my head, I'm thinking, if I'm him, I'm Bob Clark. I don't know who this Liszt guy is.
Which is pretty much what he did.
Yeah.
And then finally, so February of 1990 is actually when he finally confessed to his true identity. At trial, Liszt testified that his financial difficulties had come to a head in 1971 when this all occurred. Not only had he lost his job and forced his children to get jobs under the guise of making them more mature, he was actually collecting their money to keep them afloat. He was also dealing with his wife's alcoholism and syphilis diagnosis. So I kind of put this in here, not that it really matters in the grand scheme of things, right? His thing seems to be more like religion, but I did find this interesting about the kind of the time period back then and what mattered and what all these rules were. But it says that his wife had apparently contracted syphilis from her first husband, so before John.
Okay.
But she had never told John. So on top of that, she quote unquote tricked him into marrying him by telling him that she was pregnant. So we all know back in the day, right? If someone got pregnant, you married them. That was just kind of the thing. Even some people kind of do that now. But especially being religious and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah, you better be married before you get her pregnant.
So she also made them get married in Maryland, where they didn't require, I thought this was so weird, a premarital syphilis test. I didn't know that was a thing, but I guess they took syphilis very serious back then.
This would have been back in the 60s, I suppose.
Yeah, somewhere in there, right? Yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
So he's dealing with all of his wife's stuff, and on top of that, he's broke.
Listen,
and so
we're obviously preparing to get married. We are engaged.
Yeah.
And this is bringing to light some things that I think I want you to be
so
tested for.
Whatever. Shut up. Anyway. Okay.
That's disrespectful. I take that back.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So a court-appointed psychiatrist revealed that Liszt had obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, and he was forced to choose between accepting welfare or killing his family. So he could not deal with looking like a failure and exposing his ugly truth.
Yeah, I'm confused. So he's struggling with money.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't collect life insurance when you're going to evade the police.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm not sure.
So his idea was just, I'm going to start over pretty much.
I guess. And also I think too that when you're dealing with money troubles, right? I think in his case, he's not worried about acquiring more money. He's trying to...
Yeah, get rid of his debt pretty much.
Well, I think he's also trying to avoid the whole starting over, failure, I'm broke, like...
Right.
It's more
of
a status thing than it is a money thing.
No, what I mean, though, is like he didn't want to start over in a way of being John Liszt, this guy that basically went bankrupt and had to start over. I mean, he literally was like, I'm going to be a whole new person and start over.
Yeah.
I'm going to have no family
wipe
left
the slate
behind.
Clean, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's... Okay, continue.
He denied direct responsibility for his actions, stating, quote, I feel that because of my mental state at the time, I was unaccountable for what happened. I ask all affected by this for their forgiveness, understanding, and prayer, unquote. I said, oh, prayers, how sweet.
Yeah.
The judge gave no fucks and said, John Emil Liszt is without remorse and without honor. After 18 years, 5 months, and 22 days, it is now time for the voices of Helen, Alma, Patricia, Frederick, and John F. Liszt to rise from the grave. End quote. He was sentenced to 5 life terms. In 2002, when interviewed by Connie Chung, John Liszt stated, I've regretted my action and prayed for forgiveness ever since. I wish I had never done what I did. Liszt died from pneumonia complications in 2008 while imprisoned at St. Francis Medical Center in New Jersey.
Wish he died from syphilis. I was hoping you were going to say that.
Just ironic.
Just one last thing from the wife. Hey, buddy. You know?
Fuck you, buddy.
Gosh. I wish, actually. Okay, we're a little off track. Ideally, if he had syphilis,
he
gave it to an inmate, and then they killed him.
Anyway, you're right. Very off track. I do want to point out, though, like, the glasses... When I've read and watched stuff like this was like the biggest thing. When they put this clay bust together, they didn't have to include the glasses. They kind of could have just done a general model, but the forensic psychologist and the sculptor, like, they really worked together.
I wonder...
Like, amazingly. And I saw in the... I think it was Forensic Files episode, that they kind of went and were like, what should we add to this? It doesn't look like too personalized
Like it would be a real person.
Yeah, so they went into this like costume kind of part of the I don't say lab, but kind of that little area where they're doing this. And they were like, these glasses seem like you'd probably wear these. Like, it looks like a smart guy glasses.
Almost.
Yeah, and we'll post it on the socials because if you guys want to Google it real quick, it's one of like the main pictures that comes up because it's so eerily spot on. People could not shut up about it. After this came out, it was all these side-by-side pictures of him and the clay bust, and it was just insane.
I thought it was interesting when you said back in, it was 89 when they aired this episode, right? That, you know, nowadays we have technology to show, you know, what an aged person might look like that is still missing or you're trying to find.
Right.
But back then, they're like, they can't. I guess they could do drawings and stuff, and you see, in
Right.
other episodes drawings, but they're doing a
Yes.
clay bust.
Yeah.
And I wonder,
It looks so real.
giving it the 3D look like that.
Yeah.
Because you don't really see 3D renders even nowadays.
Yeah.
It's more like this
Yeah.
is what they look like as
It's just
12
age
years old.
progression.
Yeah.
It's not like a whole head shape and everything all the way
it's
around.
usually
most of the
just
time.
like a front-facing picture that they show nowadays.
And they've kind of made the nose a little bigger or something,
Mhm.
or yeah.
I just wonder if like that 3D bust type look plays into where it's like, I actually, from this angle, it looks just like this guy.
Yeah.
But granted, like you said,
Right.
Because you showed me the picture the other night, and it looks nearly identical to this dude.
Insane.
Like, that's wild.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's just another one of the people that America's Most Wanted has helped put away.
Yeah,
So,
it's
yeah.
cool that they used. We're big fans of the show Mindhunter on
Mhm.
Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and they used another, obviously a sculptor to put together what this guy might look like, but I guess they also used the mind of a person. Because what was
No,
what was
exactly.
the other person's name?
Oh, Walter. Mr. Walter.
Right. So
He was the forensic psychologist.
yeah, and so he's the one who said, no, listen, a type of guy like this is
Yeah.
gonna want to wear glasses.
Yeah. So
Like, those
that's
are the
where
parts
the artist and then the mind of the person come together.
exactly, and that's
What would they be wearing? How would they be acting these days?
and who knows?
What patterns do they have?
If
yeah.
if that guy wasn't
No, exactly.
didn't think, well, he's probably gonna be wearing glasses. Maybe the glasses were the selling point.
Yeah.
And
it kind of reminds me of the oh my gosh, I'm spacing. Just like it did in that stupid song thing. Joseph D'Angelo, right? That's
okay,
his name.
yeah, the
Golden
Golden State Killer.
It's like when you're arrested in your 70s or 80s, you're so
Yeah.
fucked, dude.
Yeah,
You're
I don't
so
think.
fucked.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Fuck off, mate.
Gee,
Yeah.
I
I love it. Like, you really thought you're going to get away with it.
think I'm still stuck on the fact that, like, just think about it. Everybody knows people who have glasses. Like,
Yes.
religiously, like, wear glasses.
Yeah.
And when you see them with their glasses off, you're like, whoa, you look
Totally
completely
different.
different.
Yeah.
And just the glasses alone, taking them on and off, is
Right.
that difference that's made.
Yeah.
And to think if they didn't put the glasses on the bust, he might never have been caught.
I know.
Like, I'm still stuck on that. We'll move past it, but it's just it's like, wow,
I
this
know.
is one
And I
minute
can't
detail.
wait for people to see it on the Instagram.
Actually, this is a bust that they made after he was caught to
Shut
put in a
up, to
serial
look
killer's
like
Hall
it.
of Fame.
Anyway.
Anyway,
Well, yeah, that's the story of John Liszt and his psycho ass.
yeah, you mentioned, I asked you what the name of this episode was gonna be as I was like getting files
Yeah.
created to put this together,
hmm
and I was like, I know the name, and I know he did some fucked up shit,
Yeah.
but I didn't remember the details.
I think what stands out the most for me is one of the things being the organ music. Like,
Okay, yeah.
to make
so
it
we,
seem like people were home, probably, right?
I
Like,
asked you, yeah, this was in the early 70s or right at the beginning
Yeah.
of this episode.
71.
And you said,
yeah.
yep, right towards the end of 71.
Yeah.
And I asked that because that seems, it is a long, 50 years ago with the whole organ music being blasted. It reminds me of the Anne Marie Anastasi with like the metal grunge
Oh,
music being
right.
blasted downstairs.
Downstairs in the basement.
And I was like, this is 50 years ago, though. And that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so to think that he's like one of the first, because we talk about it, you know,
Right.
with the classical music and the psycho.
Well,
and,
he was really fucking smart.
yeah.
In some ways.
Right.
Which we see a lot of, just like the Joel Guy Jr.
Mhm,
Some of
where
this stuff was really planned out and then was not
you
actually
make a couple
as planned
mistakes
out.
here
Yeah.
and there, and you don't realize in 18
But in
years
this
that there's
case,
a clay
right,
bust
he
made of ya.
actually did a lot. He sent notes out
got
saying
away.
they would be gone for weeks.
Yeah.
So that gave him so much of a head start.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, he canceled everything. So it wasn't like newspapers were piling up or milk was sitting out. Nobody would notice. He left the lights on to make it seem like people were home.
Yeah. And the only thing, that really
Except they-
pointed to what's going on over there is
Yeah.
when a bulb goes out and it doesn't get
And
changed.
then they keep going out.
Yeah.
Yeah, over weeks.
Yeah. So
Maybe the bulbs were made shittier back then, I'm guessing, because how many bulbs went out in 3 weeks?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, they're just all on.
But then also, like, all these part-time jobs, right, where, like, yeah, we'll be gone for a couple weeks. So then, like, you don't hear from them, and then they don't come back. So if, say, for example, they said they'd be gone for 2 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks goes by, and you still haven't heard from them. No one's showing up at work. Yeah. I do know that I think the daughter was involved in some dance thing, but I know one of the sons was involved in soccer, so he didn't show up. So there were people that were like, that's weird. Teachers. I mean, and then eventually it was a neighbor.
Yeah, the evidence showed, though, he only needed those few weeks to get out and get away.
Right.
You know? And at that point,
I wonder if they found out, like, what he did from dropping his car off at the airport. Maybe took a taxi or something, maybe. I don't know.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But, I mean, he ended up in Denver at one point, Virginia, so he could have flown. We don't know. Could have been under Robert Clark. We don't know. I was going to say,
that's the thing. It's clever for him to leave the car at the airport.
I know. So, like I said, so many smart things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he really did get away with it. And until technology caught up.
I did want to point out, too, that he had pointed out when he got arrested, he tried to kind of, I don't want to say weasel out of it, but kind of deter the whole thing, because he had said that his pastor had broken a rule by informing the police about what was read in the letter, because it was addressed to him confidentially. And pastors and reverends aren't supposed to, like, talk about stuff, obviously, right? Like what's said in confession, or it's between them too. But the priest or the reverend pastor, I'm sorry, I get them all confused. Who's like, that's not how this works when you commit murder. Like, like I can tell
only
whoever
separate
I want.
state and church.
This guy turned on him real quick. He was like, nah, we're not friends.
Like, hey, listen, I'm gonna break this law, but then I'm gonna ask God to forgive me for breaking the law.
And the judge was like, nice try.
And that is where, that kind of reminds me of again, calling back to like Joel Guy, where they're reaching for reasons why they should be able to get away with it.
Well, they have to. They don't have anything else.
How long? You said it was
18 years.
Yeah, and then early, I mean, not just a few months after he got caught, that he finally confessed to it.
I mean, even after they confronted him with the fingerprints, he was like, nah. And then finally, he's like, well, all right.
He's like, okay. Maybe.
He's like, I'm too old for this shit. All right, fine.
He's like, all right, in another 18 years, I'll be dead anyway.
Pretty much.
Wow.
But yeah, pneumonia got his ass, so.
Good.
About 14 years ago.
Yeah.
My math is
I know,
correct.
that's kind of weird to think that we were alive
when this happened. I know, because he seems so old.
Yeah, and when we get into episodes like this, even like the Golden State Killer, where it's like, oh, this dude is like still here, kind of, where you're like, damn, all these crimes seem like they're so long ago, at least for us, because we're, late 20s. I'm 30 or 29, so
29 and a half.
Okay, just
Thank
barely.
you.
Just barely. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. I got to refer to her as 30 from now on.
No, that's 29 and a half.
Okay, 29 and 0.52.
I might be one of the few that wants to be older. I don't know. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that, you and I are of the age where a lot of these famous or infamous serial killers all took place right before we were born or as we were like growing up, and so we weren't really aware or even existed at the time. Atlanta child murders and Green River Killer, Ted Bundy, like this was all right before we existed. And so it all seems like so.
Two were right around here too, which is
it seems like so long ago to us because we weren't alive.
Yep.
But then you're like, wait a minute, we were adults at the time. We're just about adults at the time that he died. So
crazy.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that.
I've always wanted to do that case. That is one of my favorites in the most respectful way. That is one of my favorite cases. It's just so fucking weird.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's no survivors or anything of the family.
No. Actually, so his this would have been his mother-in-law, the one that he wrote the notes about them going on vacation to go see her, and that's why they'd be gone. She was actually supposed to come to their house that week, and she was actually an intended, like, 6th or 7th victim.
Gotcha.
But she, like, couldn't come for some reason last minute. So that's another little fact is there. She was actually supposed to get murdered, too.
Lucky for her.
I know. She was probably like, dear Lord, thank you, God. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Mhm.
I know I did. And
Also,
yeah.
I don't really care what anyone else says, but I really love that music thing. And
Okay.
I kind of want to
We'll
keep
bring
doing
it
that.
back. We'll bring it back then. We will bring it
Okay.
back if we
By
need to.
popular demand, aka me.
Okay. Well, everybody else, you let us know in the comment section below or on the
Only
Instagram
good
post
things.
if you enjoyed it. This has been another episode of the True Crime Banter podcast. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
Catch you on the flippity flip.
Take care.